All right, welcome back to CptsLogs podcast. It's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
I think I keep saying that.
Yeah. It's been a long time since our huge comeback at Thanksgiving.
We had I had a really nice, beautiful comeback campaign that I put together too. We just never came back.
But maybe we're coming back now.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome back to our podcast. It's okay. You know, whenever we come back and we do certain things, we talk about, situations that actually matter. So we're probably going to be doing, moving forward, at least one podcast a month. Let's be realistic here. What do you think?
Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah. Whatever.
And maybe we can even bank some, right? Bank a few. Get some people in here.
Yeah. It's just hey, look, man, we're busy.
To say the least.
Yeah, you're working. I'm working. I've been flying a lot. The problem is the main problem. This is really the main problem is that I love money too much.
Greedy bastard.
Yeah. So I'm always on the road or whatever. But anyways, how have you been, man? How's work?
Work.
Yeah.
Busy.
So you've been.
Yes.
You want to talk about one of the general things you do other than flying? Or
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I think we did it before, but
probably.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Apply heading 230. Runway 27 left. Clear for takeoff. Turn right heading 060. Descend and maintain 5,000.
Yeah, so after I ran out of money after pursuing private pilot way back in the day. It was cheaper for me to go back to school to get a degree in computer networking.
Oh.
So I
you do have a degree in that? You do have
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In computer networking.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
From the good old community college, but it paid off because
Wow.
my plan was, hey, you make good money in IT, so if you need money, you go get a job that's going to make you some money, and I've been able to return, and
Okay.
here I am, hosting a podcast. So
Yeah. How's gas price? What have you been doing with that?
dude. All right, so don't even get me started on that.
So I drive I guess I can say it, a sport car, whatever, a Camaro, and I've had it for 2022. Oh man, a long time. Jeez. Anyways, for a while, and usually when I go to the pump to fill it up from an empty tank, it's like maybe $35. I'm used to, but I don't drive that often because I'm never home.
Right.
Recently, in the last couple of years, because I'm always traveling. Yeah, but I'll come back once a month and I'll drive my car maybe 2 days out of the month or whatever. And I don't know, but so I never pay attention to the gas prices. And I went to the pump and I, put the pump in. I was sitting there and I was like, wait a minute. I was sitting there. I'm like, wait a minute. Why is this thing? I was looking at it and I realized it was like $60 and it's still rolling. I'm like, what in the hell?
Yeah.
Dude. And then I looked over and I realized I think it was like gas was like $4.96 or something like that. Something like that. Is that what it was? Or something like that? But it was something ridiculous. So I feel bad for you people that drive
people.
Yeah, you people that drive.
Well, I just
all the
stopped at a Chevron today to pick up some of my libations. And I looked at their super, the cost for their premium.
Yeah.
It was $5.29.
What's going on, man?
Avgas is through the roof too, man.
Oh, that's another thing I probably should
It's brutal.
consider. What's generally the general cost for
Well, over the last summer it was probably like $4.50 a gallon.
I want to tell people what
around there.
avgas is for those non-aviation people.
So avgas is the fuel we use in our general aviation aircraft, not jets, just little pistons,
Yeah.
not turbo, not turbo fan either, or turboprop.
Yeah.
So not those, just little guys. So it's 100 octane with a little bit of lead. So if you hear avgas, it's what they call 100 low lead.
Yeah.
But now it's usually between $5.70 if you're lucky to $7 a gallon.
What is it generally, usually, in the normal world?
Since I returned to flying, over the last couple years, it's been like $4.50 to sometimes $5. You know,
Mm.
we had really cheap gas there for a while, but yeah, dude, it's expensive.
And jet fuel, what does that usually cost? Do you know? Like, do you
Jet
think-
fuel's typically cheaper.
Yeah.
Because it's basically kerosene.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the planes I rent are now doing a $9 surcharge per hour. So per hour went up $10 an hour. You know, that's significant. So
What is
But-
$10 surcharge per hour?
for the fuel,
Oh, really?
so
It went up. The cost went up $10. What do you mean?
so we pay a certain amount per hour for the airplane,
Oh, I get what you're
and that's
saying.
what
yeah.
they call wet,
Yeah.
which means
absolutely.
fuel's included. But now because fuel prices are so tight or
Yeah.
so up that there's a $9 an hour surcharge
Yeah.
to that hourly rate. So
Yeah.
basically went up $10 an hour to fly. And
It's funny you mentioned that. So I received an email. So I rent these Cirrus out of Scottsdale. Elite flight training, by the way, guys. If you guys are thinking about renting a Cirrus, really nice aircraft, you can check those guys out. I told her I would give her a little prompt on her podcast.
Shout out.
But great service. But I received an email from the company, well, the lady that kind of runs the company, the lady I speak to. I'm not gonna say her name. Recently, like a couple days ago, and it's like, "Hello, everybody! The first time in whatever years, Elite Flight Training is going to be raising their costs for aircraft rental." I was like, "Here we go! Everything is just So now I think they added I think it was three or two for the aircraft. The ones they have different types, generation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is for the series. Usually we had the generation 3. That I usually fly. I think it's like $279 is what it was. I rented it for. Now it's like I think it's $299.
Dang.
$20.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's $20.
And that's
extra now.
dry, right?
That's dry. Yeah, so it doesn't include fuel.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, so everything is just so inflated. Everything is going up. Cost of everything.
And Richard's too good for the Cessnas and the Pipers, folks.
I wish it's not that I'm too good. It's
I
just,
know.
I'm just the more like I think is I think the real word is too scared.
Yeah.
That's
There's
honestly.
a lot of safety in a Cirrus, so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I don't know if it's. I was reading an article that was saying that is it really safer, or is it just kind of a sense of whatever? Maybe it's just an imagination. It gives a little extra level of comfort, but it really doesn't. Does it really? I don't know. What do you think? Because if you take off,
You know me, I'll fly anything.
yeah.
I trust the pilot. I don't need.
Yeah.
I need to trust the pilot more than the plane. That's the way I look at it. You
It's
fly s-
funny. It's funny you say that because the airline doesn't.
Well,
think
yeah,
that.
but I mean, yeah.
And that have shown that the pilots are not safer than the plane. The pilots are the ones that really go and crash those planes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
A pilot will take a perfectly good, healthy aircraft and fly it into a mountain. I shouldn't be laughing about that, but it's true.
It is true.
It's a shame. But I get what you're saying. It does create a level of probably maybe a level of security that's probably not really there. Maybe.
Let me. I'll tighten that up a little bit, and we'll say trust the pilot more than the plane. If you're the pilot,
Yeah.
like when I'm not the pilot, then
It's kind of like when you're driving. It's like
you know.
Well, it's not even. I just don't. For me, and I still see videos of. Because I'm on a serious. I'm on Facebook. I'm on a serious group
Mm.
of owners or whatever, and there's still videos of guys crashing and stuff like that, and and it seems like they're coming out of it, safe and uninjured.
Yeah.
If they pull the chute at appropriate time and using the correct procedures and so forth. But if you take off and that's another thing too. I feel maybe the Cirrus is just a regular piston aircraft. It
Right.
smells the same. It sounds the same. So if you're taking off, you just took off and you have an engine failure or whatever, the chute's not going to help you when
Mhm.
you're 500 feet off the ground
right.
after departures. You got to figure that out by yourself. So
And
Yeah.
that's the game changer too. I mean,
Oh.
with or without a parachute, if that's the most deadliest spot,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
But if you can climb up, and if you're flying an airplane without a parachute, you just have to be aware of where you're at, right? Always looking around, looking for some place to land.
Mm-hmm.
If the engine went out right this second, where am I going? Always
Yeah.
keeping that in your head, not just getting bored and staring out the window.
Yeah.
And that's how I always make sure I'm comfortable. Even when I'm not flying, if I'm just sitting in the right seat, I'm always looking out the window going, where's he going? And sometimes there's nowhere to go. Right? If you're over the mountains, like there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, what are we going to do? But then you can start doing things like, okay, well, I need to get on the other side of this peak, because right now if the engine goes out, there ain't nowhere to land.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be crash and pray. But, okay, so what do? Well, now I'm going to, can I climb another 4,000 feet, 3,000 feet, buy an extra 6 miles of glide? And that's how you got to be thinking all the time. And I think that's what keeps you safe in a GA plane.
Yeah. You better start thinking safe in the GA plane a lot more often, because it's going to be your lifestyle in the next couple.
Yeah, well.
in this couple, because, man, you're right. Absolutely right, 100%. When I was an instructor, every second I'm looking at, okay, I'm like, we can go over there if something happens. I can go over there. Even on a mountain where there's like mountains around and there's nowhere to go, I'm like, maybe I can land on the side of that mountain.
Right. Or you're looking for a creek or something.
Something, man.
Something that's flat, or trees. At least like maybe you can get on the treetops.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
But it's when you get yourself in a big mess is when you're not thinking that way, and you're listening to your Bluetooth radio or your phone, and you're gabbing with the passengers, and then that happens, and you weren't thinking about all that stuff, and now you're just trying to maintain a glide airspeed. And
yeah, I need to like I see that because I've been paying attention, because now I'm gonna probably get a little more into the GA a lot more. So I kind of watch and pay attention to some of these accidents that's been going on. And one of the recent one I was reading, this guy came in it was like I think the Sirius's crosswind limitation is like 21 knots.
Jeez.
And he is that high? I think 50 knots is the.
Yeah, that's usually what I'm used to.
I think it's something like that.
Mid-teens.
Maybe I could be wrong. I read it was 21 knots, but it could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, guys. But anyways, he came in and it was like a 31 or something like that, or 20, whatever knot. Or maybe that's what he did. It came in at 21 knot, but it was supposed to be 16 knots. Yeah, that's what he did. So he came in at a 21 knot crosswind. It's like, how does that happen? And he crashed. Like, he ran off the runway and everything and crashed. And there's a thing on Facebook. I'm like, and I sit down going, like, how does that happen? How do you come in and not pay attention to the winds and decide,
Right. Or you get cocky.
I almost feel like it's. You think that's what it is? You just cocky?
It could be either or.
Yeah.
I had a flight instructor once. She was awesome, but she was telling me that she prided herself on her crosswind landings, and she never gotten herself in a crazy situation. But she was saying like she had one landing where she was just like, didn't need to do that, didn't need to go for that one. She was fine, but it was just like, at that one I probably should have waited. So yeah, you got to recognize that stuff, and or it could be you're just not paying attention.
Yeah, you're right, because I've had the same. I think I spoke about. I've had the same incident with crosswind.
Yeah,
where I was very confident in my crosswind as a flying instructor, and that one I probably should not have done. And I'm okay talking about it because we got
made it out.
We got out of it
No
safely.
incidents.
No incidents. But for a second there, I thought, and I had a student on board, and like we landed, and I had all the rudder in there on the ground, like we're on the runway. And the aircraft was still drifting off with the wind on the runway, and I recognized it enough to add the power to go around, but we're I was able to get off the ground just enough to stay just above the stall, just speed just above the stall, unable to climb up just enough to miss one of the runway lights. And as we climb out with my student on board, so so I guess that could be either he was overconfident or he just wasn't paying attention. Oh, yeah.
Well, and also the thing to think about in a crosswind, even if you had a 12 knot direct crosswind, right on the plane, and you're good with that, you never know. Right before you touch down, there could be another 6 knot gust, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because with my situation, not an incident.
Situation.
Just to be clear that up,
we created a new label. So there's accident, incident, and situation.
Absolutely. Let's be clear about this. With we were in based on the winds were within the limitations based on what the ATIS was saying.
Right.
You know, so I was within the limitation, and and everything. It's funny because with the entire correction, we were lined up with the runway coming down. It wasn't until I touched down where I was like, nope, this is not going to happen.
Right.
You know? So yeah, but I pay attention to those accidents, and I still see planes, even the series. I still see aircraft, would crash and stuff like that. And it's like, man, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And if you do it long enough, maybe, I don't know what the data shows, but something's probably going to happen. I don't want to deal with that stuff, man.
I don't want to deal with any of it.
Yeah.
No matter what airplane I'm in. Just keep the freaking engine running.
Yeah, man. Yeah. How's training going with
It's going good, man. It's kind of been a delay just in my own time, just busy. Work, life, right?
yeah.
So I should have been done already a long time ago, but life has delayed me. But we're getting ready for the check ride, and should be coming up shortly. Got the 2 writtens done.
Oh,
so
good.
For CFI, you got to do 2 written tests.
So you're ahead of me because the only FAA written I failed is the FOI. I'll say it. It's okay. I'll say
It's okay. I got a 98%.
Get the hell out of here.
Swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you. But
Uh,
that FOI really jacked me up. I don't know what happened. And I was really bummed out too. I was so sad because I've never failed a written before. It's my
Yeah.
first time. And I was like, oh, God, I was so depressed by it. But anyways, continue
yeah, so
showing off.
Yeah, well, let me get through the check ride first. Nobody cares about the writtens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. Did the spin training about a week ago or so. That was a ton of fun.
Just talk about that. What is that? What's a spin training?
So spin training. So if you're on my YouTube channel, On the Mark, which there's not much up there yet.
I like it.
But you can watch this video though.
On the mark, baby.
You can see myself and my instructor doing a spin, which is basically just an uncoordinated stall. So for most of you aviation people, you should know what a stall is because it's kind of important information, I would hope. And if you don't know what a stall is, it's not quite like your car stalling, an engine stalling. It's your wing stalling.
That's a good one.
So you reach this point where your angle of your wings are so high that it can't produce lift anymore. This air separates from the wings, right? I'm trying to keep it simple and short here.
It makes sense to me. If I was a student, that would make sense to me.
We'd have a little airplane and we can show you.
Oh yeah, by the way, so that's key.
I have one.
You have one?
Yeah,
I mean, I walk around with, that thing. Oh my God.
In fact, it's right here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Key. All right. Good.
So basically a stall is, you hit that point where the air separates from the wings. Your nose drops because you stop flying for a second. Really, that's what it was. But these planes, they want to keep flying. So as soon as that nose drops, that air reconnects and you're flying again. In a stall or a spin, it's the same thing's happening, only you're what's called uncoordinated, which means the butt of the plane, your tail, is in one direction. And in a nutshell, because you're either, your ass is a little bit to the left or your ass is a little bit to the right, your wings don't stall at the same time, and one side stalls more than the other. And thus it creates a spinning motion.
Good job, man. I was gonna leave it alone and see if you bury yourself there, but you didn't bury yourself. So good job.
I hope not, because that's gonna be on my next stage check. So
I was like, I'm gonna be quiet and see how he's gonna dig this stretch.
Well,
but it came out well. No,
and
it
I'm
came out
trying
well.
to dumb it down for the listeners because we can get into a little more detail, but it's gonna take a lot longer than what we want to spend on it.
That's good. That's good. It was good. It came out pretty well.
So you can see the video up there, and
you mind if I put it on the?
You can put it on the podcast, and you'll see.
No.
You'll see when it happens. You'll hear a little horn. If there's, you probably won't have sound on there, but these little planes, like I said earlier, they just want to fly. Like they want to fly. See, the ones we stall, the 172, you have to force it to stall or to spin. Like you have to really push the rudder, the pedal, push the rudder so the back on the tail, turns, and gets that ass out of place, and then pull back.
So why would you? So why would you want to? Like, why would you? So why are you doing it?
We are doing it to
I'm curious.
number one,
Why would you? Why would you intentionally?
We need to intentionally do it so we can know how to get out of it.
We who?
We as certified flight instructors.
Yes.
But I would also say it doesn't have to just be certified flight instructors.
Yep.
I think it'd be good to do with a maybe not towards the end of a private pilot. I wouldn't let them do it, but maybe show it to them.
Oh really?
I would, yeah. I think I would show it to them, depending on the student. You don't
Yeah.
want to freak them out, but when you get to see it, all through. You don't do it, like I said, up until CFI. But when you get to see it and you get to feel it, you really can picture everything in your head, what you've been talking about. I think just like anything else in life. So when you actually get to experience it, and it all starts to make sense. When you watch the instruments in the airplane, or you just watch your outside view of the wings stalling and the ass kicking out, and then all of a sudden you're staring at the ground. Like, it all kind of comes together.
So basically, for you, think about this for your non-aviation people. Your nose is pointing towards the ground. You're seeing brown.
You're seeing brown.
And that plane is spinning as you're going towards the ground.
So if there's a little green field
Yeah.
in that brown, you just see brown, green,
Yep.
brown, green.
Exactly.
Brown, green.
And and it's going to go all the way down like that, spinning to what was it they call it, the crash scene?
Yeah. You always fly right to the scene of the crash.
Whatever they say, unless you fix that, unless you get out of it. So as a flight instructor, I think you're saying as a flight instructor, they let you actually do it, so you know how to get out of it, just in case one of your students decide, hey, I'm going to put let's put this plane in a spin and spin this real quick, So, yeah.
And the problem is, though, with the spins, though, is if it happens, we climb up, I think we recover. I'm not even going to say because I don't remember at this point, but we have to recover at an altitude well above ground level. But most spins occur low level when you're low and you're slow, because that's when you stall.
Yep.
So
that's a problem.
That's the scary part when you start to think about what you witnessed up there, because during training you have to spin the plane 3 times around before you or 2 times around before you recover. But we'll just say a lot of spins happen on what's called base to final. So your airplane's really slow and you're turning your last turn to line up with the runway, and your ass swings out and you stall right there. You're not going to get 2 spins in before you hit the ground.
You better not, yeah.
So it's mostly about the way I see it is the spin training isn't mostly for recovering, because chances are wherever that spin's going to happen, you're not going to have time to recover. Mm-hmm. The whole point of it is to recognize before the spin what's happening in the airplane, what's the situation going on, to avoid that spin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bottom line.
Absolutely. I agree.
Because other than that, they're super fun.
Yeah. The first time it happened, when I was a student, I was a private pilot. Well, I wasn't a private pilot. I was a student pilot in a Cessna 172 out there back then it was West Wing Aviation Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know any, you read about it. Ooh, spin. You don't really, what the hell's going on. But we were doing a stall. It was at a high elevation. And the Cessna tends to want to spin if it's, like you said, not coordinated. And it kicked out and flipped and was ready to go in the spin as a student. And I was like, I still remember now, because I had no idea what was going on. I was like, what is going on? And like you said, my instructor allowed it to break. It didn't go all the way into a spin,
right?
But he allowed it to break, and enough for me to see, oh, you were about to screw up here.
Right.
And he kicked it and he corrected it, and then said, hey, you realize what was going on there? What was going on there? But man, So you're probably if you're a student, you should let it happen a little bit, just enough to get out of it, to stay within the limits or whatever, so they can see, hey, and they go, hey, don't do that again.
Right. And note, not when you're towards the ground.
Yeah, at high altitude.
Yeah.
High elevation, man. Cool, man.
Yeah, it was fun. It makes me want to do aerobatics. So I think I'm gonna at some point, I'll go up and I want to go do some aerobatics.
You see, this is so. I'm so not that pilot.
I don't know if I'll necessarily go get all my rating or anything, but I'd like to go up and do a spin in a very unstable airplane like a Great Lakes or anything.
Yeah.
You know, any of those aerobatic planes, just to see what it's like to really spin, because those will spin. Our planes, so like the recovery process, you don't even really have to recover. Excuse me, in the Cessna, you just kind of release the controls, and the thing kind of straightens itself out. But that's because they're very stable airplanes. Whereas like the aerobatic planes that you see in like the Red Bull competitions, whatever, those are unstable, so they can be flipped around, and so that's how you can really feel what is an out of control spin would be. I think would be the best way to put it. But I want to go upside down too.
Yeah, not interested, man. Straight and level, unaccelerated flight.
Well, yeah, in a 767.
And so by the way, talking about on training in the when you get to those point, you're doing stalls all the way up to the airlines too. So you'll be doing stalls and stuff like that. You can test it on stalls. So, don't. I know. So the Embraer 175 doesn't allow you to stall the plane. Have I ever told you about that?
Yeah.
So you can pull back on that thing as aggressive and as much as you want, and it'll go. I don't think so, buddy. Not gonna allow it. I think the Airbus is like that too. I think in like normal mode or whatever, it just won't let you stall. You want to get you that. Some other aircraft, some like the 145 has a pusher, a shaker and a pusher.
Sure. Yeah.
You heard about that?
Yeah. When stick starts shaking back and forth.
Yep, and it pushes. You ever heard about a pusher?
Yeah.
It's like
I think you've told me about it.
It pushes down at there's a certain amount of pressure, whatever it is, pounds per whatever it is, enough where you can't pull. There's no way for you to pull it back. So if you're low to the ground with that aircraft and you're getting ready to stall and you're hearing the shaker, and you don't make the correction, it's gonna
make it for you. It's
gonna push it down. And remember, that's the only way. You can't power out of a stall. You gotta get lift. So that's the only way to get out of a stall is lower your angle of attack. That's important, people.
Right.
But you do stalls in the 7.6, and it's God. That's another thing. When you get to those points, you realize all this stuff is just everything is so different. It's not as simple as just pushing in. You break the stall, but then the aircraft, and then you got to put a lot of trim in there. But the aircraft wants to come back down and it stalls again. If you don't correct it, it stalls again. So you have to have that stay within that perfectly margin where you have to lower the nose enough to break the stall, but you can hold it where it's not going back in the secondary stall.
Right.
Dude, it's God.
That's another thing we have to do in the CFI. I'm sure you remember. It's training secondary stalls.
Oh, that's right.
So we just slow it down, slow the airplane down. You put in a landing configuration. You take this trim and you just go nose up, because you're slow, so you can afford a lot of trim nose up. And then you simulate a go around, and the nose.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's an elevator trim stall. My bad. But I mean, it kind of has the same. It could have the same effect.
Yeah.
But
cool, man.
Anyways.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So let's. I think we talked about general aviation and getting back into general aviation. I think you're telling me that you have a lot of pilot friends who are in the airline that you're trying to get back into flying, to fly the small airplanes, and they're like, we want nothing to do with that.
Well, I don't, but I've heard stories of. So, like one example was, do you remember that guy Willie?
I do remember
back in private pilot.
What is he doing?
I don't know. No one's heard of him. He went back to like Venezuela or something. But hey, Willie, if you're listening, dude, reach out.
I do remember Willie.
But he was living out, and he started renting planes right away, right out of private pilot, which I was too scared to do at that point. But he said his dad, because his dad was flying cargo for some company, but big heavy jets. I don't remember what. And he took his dad flying, and he was going to let his dad land a Cessna 172, and he's like, yeah, he tried to flare like 30 feet off the runway. And
yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, number one, don't let your dad fly. Like,
well, the thing is, with some of these larger transport type airplanes, it's weird. There's different ways you actually how do I explain this? There's different ways, different procedures you use when it comes to landing in, obviously, an aircraft. when I say that, for example, a lot of times, like for example, the Embraer 175, the 76 counts down. So it counts down 100 and it goes 50,
Right.
40, 30. You know, you use those. So those are the cues you use for landing. So you're not just looking out, even though you are, but you're not just looking out and, you know, kind of gauging altitude and, you know, looking, flaring. You're using,
Right.
you're losing. So when you come back into these small airplanes and that doesn't count down, then
Right.
then you know you're trying to figure out like,
If you're waiting for a countdown.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then with those, for example, the 7.6, you're like 3 stories high up there, whatever it is,
Right.
you know. So you get back in these small planes, you can't tell how high you are and everything. So it's a pain in the ass. So then you start flaring at 30 feet off the ground or whatever. But so I got back into the GA, renting this Cirrus. I mentioned that as well. And my neck, is that you say it? Is it still on a swivel? Is that how you say that?
Head on a swivel.
It's not your neck.
I mean, well, I guess your neck would be the swivel, right?
Oh, good point. Good point. That's a good point. So I'm still like on high alert because I don't fly
Yeah.
these small planes as much.
Right.
So I take extra care and all these things. I take extra care in checking the weather and extra care in checking the plane and all these things. And because of that, they always say that it's the pilots who things or tends to happen to are the one that a little more complacent, a little more experienced, and
Right.
so forth and whatnot. Blah, blah, blah. But I think because of me going back into general aviation, you know, flying a small aircraft, I'm definitely a little more
A little
high alert.
jittery.
So I believe the things that, for example, this guy going in and flying a Cirrus in a 21 knot crosswind or whatever, I would never do that because I'm
Yeah.
just not that. I don't want to use confident, but I'm just not. I guess
You
confident.
say confident.
Yeah.
In the airplane, right?
Exactly. I'm just not that confident enough to go out and go. Oh, I'm just gonna go, you know, flying this gusty.
I know how to
ass-
fly.
Yeah, you know.
I'm good. Yeah.
Even though I would fly at a 7.6 in a gusty ass crosswind, but just not these small airplanes. So I almost feel like those are not the things that's gonna get me. It's the things that like the unknown things that I can't see.
Uh-huh.
Those unknown things
That you can't see coming.
that you can't see. Yeah. So I tell a quick story. So I think you and I went to Sedona on like a month ago, whatever it is.
We did.
And
Good trip.
I'm like, yeah, it was a good trip. I'll put it on the podcast. I'll show you. We did pretty well. Got some good videos and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going into Sedona. Beautiful. We have some beautiful videos for Sedona as well.
And if you, yeah,
And pictures and whatnot. It's really nice flying to the airport.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. I was actually even though I took the time to do the research, I was really glad you were there because you had a lot of experience in when it comes to like procedures and departures and whatnot that I never really, because I probably was taken off on.
Oh, at Sedona.
Yeah, I probably just,
Yeah.
if I was by myself, I probably, because there's nothing that says that, right? I talked about the.
Well, I mean, the information's out there, but I mean, to be honest, how many people are looking at? I shouldn't say that, but you should be. Yeah, we.
Well,
Yeah,
I called the airport, so I called the airport and I ask, okay, so what's the general procedures and how does I did that? I did my
right.
you know,
Yeah. he
what's the
told me
general
that.
procedures and what runways do people usually fly in when they enter and depart and whatnot? And she kind of gave me a. Usually, I forgot what it is. but-
I'm trying to think too. But it's
Oh.
basically like the west side of the airport. So if I believe the runway runs west east and then east west.
yeah.
So usually you come in from the west and land to the east.
Mhm.
And
Why?
then-
Why is that?
well, there's a couple of different reasons. So on the east side of the airport, and if I'm getting my directions wrong, boys and girls,
Yeah, I can look it up as you talk. See here.
there's a lot more terrain out in front of you. So, I mean, it's not like, Colorado or anything,
Yeah.
but it's just easier to go in that side of the airport from the west to the east. But also because the runway actually slopes up from that side. So if you're coming in and you're landing to the east, the runway is going to slope up. So most people land that way and then take off to the west.
Yeah. Runway for Sedona, 2, 1, and 3. Yeah, runway 3, runway 2, 1.
So there you
So
go.
yeah, west,
West and east.
east. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
East-ish.
East, yeah.
West-ish.
Yeah.
But then when you have, so you got to take that upsloping, downsloping into effect, right? So if you're landing on an upsloping runway, then you're going to have a lot of easier time braking and you can stop faster,
Yeah.
right? Gravity. And vice versa. You roll downhill, you're going to get rolling faster, take off.
Yeah.
But what threw us through a loop is now we had an opposite wind. So taking off, we had to start considering, oh, well, the wind is blowing, what was it blowing now?
I think it was 3 or right
I
now.
think it was blowing from the west.
Yeah.
So then we had to take off from the east if we wanted to get the headwind, which is what you usually
Yeah.
want to take off into.
Mhm.
However, now we were going to go upslope. And I'm probably
Yeah.
if you look back and listen now, you're probably like, well, wait, you said east is west. But I think you get the picture of what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
So we're battling with headwind versus uphill runway, or do we go downwind or downsloping runway with a tailwind?
Yeah. Yeah. Which, yeah, you don't want to have a tailwind.
But that's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
But that we also were judging by other pilots, right? We're watching other aircraft and seeing which one was working best.
yeah, but we also, like a tailwind, it wasn't, I think it was dead by the time we got out there as well.
Yeah.
And then also,
Yeah.
it wasn't that much.
No.
And then we weighed, we weighed, because we don't want tailwind. It doesn't matter how downslope the runway is, because if you got a wind, you want that headwind, because you want something to give you a lift. But in that situation, that was the best option based on terrain, because you also don't want to fly in terrain. It doesn't matter how much lift.
right.
But yeah, so we sat and we paid attention, and it was good. But honestly, it really kind of opened up my eyes, because I was thinking I would have just looked at the windsock. I'm like, all right, tailwind, or headwind or whatever. I probably would have known there's a terrain out there and everything. You can see it. But going back in the GA, like in the airlines, the airline gives you all that stuff. You get departure procedures.
Right.
They give you they give you like a single engine departure procedure, just in case if there's a terrain. They give you a terrain procedure, whatever. So what to do with the engine fail, blah blah blah. But that really kind of opened up my eyes a bit to say I need to pay more attention. Even though I paid a lot of attention, and I called and everything, you still need to pay a little more attention to make sure you know what the hell is going on.
Right.
So it was interesting. That stuff, and then so I want to talk about this because this is important. So we got on the runway. We're departing out. We're heading back to Scottsdale. We spent some time in Sedona. I think Mark was getting happy talking about hanging out with what do you call those crap in Sedona? The wind.
Oh, the vortexes. I had to go. Yeah, I had to go get my spiritual guidance on, man.
So the Cirruses are the ones that we fly are SR-22 Tangos, which is turbines. About 300
Turbo.
turbo, yeah,
If
turbine.
it's turbine, then it's fucking awesome.
SR-22 Tango is T stand for turbo, yeah. 315 horsepower or something like that.
Not too shabby.
Usually when you go about halfway on the throttle, you feel the turbo kicks in
Yeah.
halfway.
Yeah.
You feel it when you do it?
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, and I could see you slowly like wait for it, because just so you keep control.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So on the way out of Sedona, it got to the point where I was adding the power and the turbo kicked in enough. Sometimes it pushes you back, and that's what it did. It pushed me back a little bit. And within that instant, it pushed me back enough where my entire seat, the track of my seat, went all the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, yeah. Yeah. I'll show you guys a video. Luckily, we weren't at full power or anything like that. And luckily, Mark was a pilot, a competent pilot.
Training for such crazy
Situation,
scenarios.
yeah. But it got to a point where I couldn't even, when I got pushed back so much where I couldn't even, I had no
Couldn't
control.
reach the brakes.
Yeah, I had no.
Nothing.
Did you notice that? Did you notice that
You were flailing.
Huh?
You were flailing because you were like it flipped. It almost like as if you flipped you back, like at the corner of my eye. You were kind of like.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but
What did you hear? What were your?
I heard it slide back,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize instantly what happened. But you just said brake,
Yeah.
brake, and I just got on the brakes.
Yeah.
So it was like, and it goes back to the head on the swivel thing,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
Not, it's in CFI school, we talk about stress. There's good stress. There's bad stress. Bad stress is you're making irrational decisions or radical decisions. But we had the good stress, which is where like we're super situationally aware.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be quick to react.
Mm-hmm.
So especially on takeoff and landing. I mean, not when we're flying, folks. Like, hey, that's fine. It's just, and I kind of feel that stress a little bit, no matter anytime I'm getting on the runway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what did it. Like, you knew like something's wrong right away. You had somebody next to you. Brake. Give instruction. Something's going wrong. Take control.
Yeah.
And then I was like, huh, what? No, it was like, okay, he's saying brake. Get on the brake.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank God, because I thought about it so many times. I was like, man, if I had, cause I was supposed to take this girl to Sedona River and try to impress her.
Right.
I thought, God, if it was that girl. So now that's part of my briefing.
Absolutely.
Even if she's not a pilot, she's testing that brake.
Right.
Or he, to know how to use it and whatnot. And it's also part of my briefing. Okay, if I say brake, get on those brake. The way I taught you.
And if I don't say brake and you brake, I'm going to.
Yes.
You're going to walk home.
Exactly. But I think talking about our head being on the swivel and high alert. Going back in because we're planning to do a lot more general aviation flying in the coming months, and just to be safe and maintain alertness and situation awareness. But I think there's just some of these things, man. It's like why the hell that damn seat?
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating because it's not something I did.
No.
And it's probably not anything anybody did.
Because typically once you roll the seat forward, if you didn't get it locked, it just rolls right back.
Yeah, but are there any locking mechanism on any aircraft seats? When you roll it back, it should lock into place.
You just trust it like a car.
Yeah. That's generally...
There's a lever, and you pull it, you move it, and then it should lock.
I mean, the 76 is the same way. All these aircraft are the same way. You pull
and typically, if it's not locked, then it'll slide back a little bit, and you need to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you what, this typically on the checklist is like before takeoff checklist, maybe before that on the taxi before taxi checklist, it says seatbelts and
shoulder harness
seats or something like that.
Yeah, it does say that.
So
on the checklist.
I learned nowadays
what it really means.
every time, man. Every time I come to that part on the checklist, I'm pushing back in my seat to make sure that this is secure, because that could have been scary.
Oh man, and that's the crazy thing about aviation, by the way. And I was told this when I was going through training by very experienced instructors. I'm talking about initial pilot training. Even my Rex, he said, I remember he told me, something's going to happen.
Right.
Just be ready for it. It's just the way it is. And I feel if you can get those things out in the beginning, like small things, little stupid things happen where you can recover from it and it's not instant. You're like, God damn it, I won't do that again. Because it's gonna happen. That's when you can. Because you don't want to happen when you're like relaxed and comfortable. Because that's when things happen. But if you can get these things out in the beginning and the little small things happen where you're like alert and you catch all that stuff, that's good. So, but man,
it's a good experience. Good learning experience. Check the seats. Definitely make sure your passengers are briefed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially if you're flying a turbo airplane. Because for those of you pilots out there, I'm not going to explain left turn tendencies, but it will start turning left very quickly.
Very quickly, people.
Yeah. And anyway, if you're taking off a mesa. If you don't know what a mesa is, Google it, which is what Sedona Airport lies on. You don't want to go sideways. So
Yeah. So that, I mean, that was good because that will never happen to us again ever.
right,
That's the thing about those kind of things is that you survive it, it'll never happen again.
right.
You know. So now I know. You just pay more attention. But it's also exciting and fun. That's what makes this stuff fun. You know. Unfortunately, you get that kind of joy.
Yeah.
You feel very accomplished when you're able to take an aircraft, heavy machinery, and do it properly and fly through all these regulatory areas and do it safely and efficiently and within the laws and land and get out and go to Vegas and
Right.
you feel very accomplished to be able to do that stuff. So
Good times. Glad you got back in the GA.
yeah, man, it's fun. Yeah,
We have some friends that were so scared out of it that they won't come back.
well, technically I am still.
I'm
too.
calling you out, Brock, if you're listening.
I'm going to put that on the thing to alert him. I'm going to say that and say, hey, Brock, by the way.
Brock,
Yeah. But I'm still am. That's why I'm flying the Cirruses because of the parachute. I'm having a hard time getting back into Cessnas, man.
So we have a friend, Brock, who is in our first class, and he's an airline pilot as well. He has a hard time going back in the GA because he's scared of the airplanes. But that was because he was a flight instructor, and if you fly so many hours, especially as a flight instructor, you're gonna have an issue. Like it just happens that way.
Yeah.
But it sticks with him. But he did say, I believe, that he would fly in the Cirrus with us.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I think he liked on the Facebook there. I think he liked the Cirrus stuff we put on there. I think he was like, oh.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
I think we can get him up there. I don't think I can get him in the Cessna. I don't think I can get him in
You're
the
not
Archer.
getting me in a Cessna, so you're probably not
Oh,
getting me.
yeah, I am.
Oh, you did get me in a Cessna.
I have, like twice.
Oh, that's a lie. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
He trusts me, folks.
Yeah, man.
I'm trusted.
Well, I think I'm comfortable flying like on the practice area there where
I know,
where
right?
it's,
It does make a difference.
Yeah, it
It's
really
all
does.
Flat
It's all flat and there's roads everywhere.
You should
and
land pretty much
anywhere you can, you're fine. Honestly, that I can probably do, but unlike across country where I don't know where the hell I'm going, and I know that area too. Like I know where the tents stretch out for miles and miles. And
Right.
miles. Okay, we're gonna go on the tent.
Right, exactly.
Or
Or cornfield.
or whatever
There's
it
a
is,
field
yeah.
right there. Or a racetrack. Or
something. So I'm okay with doing that kind of stuff.
So, folks, if you want to do your training, this is a great place to do it here in Arizona because
It is.
you'll be okay. Just watch for traffic.
Cool, man. Awesome, man. Have you been doing any traveling pretty soon? Like regular travel? We're going to be doing this. I'm planning a Vegas trip, by the way, with flying out to Vegas to Henderson, the Cirrus.
Right on.
Let me know if you want to do like overnight stuff. Like maybe we'll spend a night there. This way we don't have to like fly right
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Still time building, bro.
Yeah, man.
Don't turn the autopilot on. I'll be the autopilot for you, and then I can log some time.
Did you? I'll tell you a story right now. In we're 145. So obviously everything's MEL'd in the airline. Everything's MELable.
What's that?
Oh
I
God.
don't know. You got to explain it.
Oh no.
trapped
I'll tell you
yourself.
that. A minimum equipment list. So if it's on the list and it's broken, you can't go. Yeah. Is that what it is? No. If it's
It's a minimum equipment list that tells you that's approved by the FAA for that airplane, and it tells you if you can fly. If something's not working, can you still fly, or are you grounded?
yeah, keep it that simple. Yeah. But if it's not on the list, that's what it is. If it's not on the list and it's broken, all right, there's nothing you can do. You can't wait. What's a good word? Maybe you can't. I'm not gonna put this in there. It's really hard. But if it's not on the list, you can't go. Period. It has to be fixed.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, there's a list that if the equipment is broken and it's on that list, you can still go by doing certain things that required by maintenance and FAA and so forth. But if it's broken and you look in that list and it's not on the list, you can't go. It has to be fixed. Maybe I'll put this on the podcast. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
And I'm going to spout because I need to know about this too, as a CFI candidate. So real quick, and the reason why you want that MEL list that you create basically as a pilot or the operator owner of that aircraft, you get that approved by the FAA because it's easier to reference. So, like in another plane that doesn't have a minimum equipment list, you have to go back to several different things. You have to go back to the federal air regulations that say, hey,
Oh
you
my
have
God.
to have this stuff. You have to go back to the aircraft manufacturer that they'll give you a list of stuff you have to have or not have. So there's like 4 other places you have to go to look to see if I can fly with this broken, and then procedure on what to do if it
dude,
is.
I don't even remember any of that stuff because everything I do is MEL, and
Right.
and you don't even. But that's interesting. That's a good point. I don't remember any of that stuff. Continue. That's good.
I mean, that's basically it. So having an MEL or a minimum equipment list really aids. You just turn to that page. It's like, do I need that?
Yeah.
Yes or no? No, you can't fly.
Yeah,
There's no other decisions to be made.
absolutely.
Or yes, I need that. No flying.
Yeah.
No, we can get away without doing it. All right, here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Take these steps. Do this. Do this. Do this. Okay, you're good to fly again.
Oh, by the way, guys, and that's everything in the airlines, which includes the overhead bin. So when you stuff your bag in the overhead bin and break it, and then the aircraft's delayed, and you're like, and the guy, okay, we're delayed, and blah blah blah, which happens all the time. That is why there are procedures required. So the MEL or the minimum equipment list contains, especially in the airlines, everything in that
I think
aircraft.
like the tray tables and shit.
Everything. Well, most of everything is on there except for things that cannot be on there. There's certain things that it's amazing the things that
Right.
can be like MEL'd and freaking the pressurization anything. The fire system, it's amazing. You can still go.
Mark's flying with us today. Let's see. Open the MAL. First officer is hung over. We can't fly. Nah, just
But
kidding.
it's funny. What I was saying is that we went to an aircraft and we got the walk up to the aircraft. It was back in the days in 145 days, Embraer 145. And the autopilot was broken. And it's like, we don't have an autopilot. And the captain looked at me like, oh, yes, we do.
Always.
And flying in Part 121 and going into DFW without an autopilot is no joke.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's not something you want to do often.
That was in the 145?
Yeah, Embraer 145, yeah. As no joke. Flying at high altitude with no autopilot is also no joke. I mean, it's very, very sensitive. You're not allowed to make any mistakes up there.
Right.
I don't know. You probably can't. You can't go into. I'm gonna say it RVSM, but
Nah, I was just thinking about that. I was going to ask you
I'll
about
put
that.
it what it means in the thing. Cause
Yeah.
Um,
It's basically special separation. They shrink the separation,
Yeah.
right?
to 1,000
Because you're
feet.
supposed to be like totally dialed in with autopilot.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do a Sedona trip and it'll be fun.
Vegas trip.
Oh, a Vegas trip. Yeah, we've done the Sedona trip. We survived that one.
And then eventually we're going to go to Vegas and do I'm gonna fly the Vision Jet, right?
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
am.
ride your
I'm actually
coattails
gonna.
on that.
I'm gonna podcast it. I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow.
Ooh.
I'm renting a car and.
So that's why I had to get here today. So Richard can go to Hawaii.
It's for work. It's not.
You know what I'm doing tomorrow? I get to go back to work.
That is for work. I am going to work.
Oh, you are going to work.
It is for work.
Oh, okay.
There's certain places I can say. I can say Hawaii. That's fine. I mean, that's anything. But
Yeah.
there's certain other places I can't say. But
Well, I
Hawaii.
thought you were going for fun.
Well, this.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
you're just
it's
getting
both.
paid to go have fun.
Absolutely. Don't tell my company this. That we're having fun.
Yeah. You guys done with negotiations yet?
We're still working on that. But you've done. I know you're the kind of guy that travels business class and first class and all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You've been on Turkish Airlines.
Economy sucks. No, but I've heard very, very,
Oh
very
my
good things
God.
about it.
I'm actually I'm gonna write a blog about this. That's how good it was.
Yeah.
MG. I mean, and then you come back into the U.S. and you go out of you come back into the U.S. out of Chicago or whatever, and you go to the United Lounge, and the damn thing is crowded. You can't even sit down.
Yeah.
What is going on with these U.S. lounges, man?
Well,
Let me hear it.
I don't know. My lounge experience is lacking. I've just started getting status and whatnots on American.
It's hard to get status. And American is for some reason I don't know what it is with Americans.
It's rough.
Yeah.
But my last trip, I flew first class from Detroit to Phoenix, and I got the Admirals Club passes. And it was all right. I mean, here's the thing. You get free drinks and you get free, somewhat alcoholic drinks. But like anything you really want to drink, you still end up paying for.
Really?
Yeah, because they're called premium, for the premium drinks. So it's still cheaper than drinking down at
Premium,
the bar.
like premium.
So there'll be like
members.
No. So premium meaning, yeah, you're here in the club, but you still have to pay.
What the
So
hell,
there'd be
man?
like there was like a decent IPA that I wanted to drink. That's not flying. Initials there. Those are beer initials. Join me on my beer.
Let's get that
Join
down.
me on
It's
my beer
important.
podcast. Anyways, but it was like $8. Maybe a little cheaper, like $6. So it's still cheaper than drinking downstairs in the
Yeah.
bar. But
Absolutely.
and then there's some food, but it's usually just like finger foods, and it's not that good. And
yeah.
still better than buying it. But yeah, I saw some of your
Oh my
international
God.
ones.
So I went into.
Hello.
I can say this. I was going somewhere. I won't say where, but I transitioned to Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah. And before you go further, I have a good friend. His wife's from Ukraine. You know, God bless Ukraine.
Yeah.
But they always fly through Turkish Airlines through it.
So I flew business class and I flew through Istanbul, and
Close enough.
yeah, close enough. But anyways, so I got off the plane. It was, how long was that flight? It was like a 7-hour flight or something like that. I think it was a 350.
Nice plane.
Yeah. And as soon as I walked off the plane, which I wasn't expecting, business class. Then again, the company, by the way, our company provides this kind of stuff, by the way, but there's a lady there with my name, Richard, all my full name. I was like, oh, beautiful lady too. What?
Wait, what?
As soon as I walked off the plane, there was somebody with a sign
Really?
with my name.
Jeez.
Oh, by the way, but our company, we get this a lot with our company when you travel international. It's really not, dude. I want to say this because we're going through, but sometimes, man, I'm like, God, I love my freaking job. But anyways, she got out. She's like, so she had all my name, my first, middle, and last name. I was like, oh, that's me. And she's like, where's your friends? I'm like, what friends? She's like, isn't it 3 of you? I was like, nope, that's all me. She's like, oh, this is all you. I'm like, yeah. Absolutely beautiful lady. I'm talking beautiful. Anyways, she's like, oh, okay, you're gonna be with me. I'm gonna take you to the lounge. So she like walked me up and brought me to the lounge. She booked me through to get like a little shuttle that's gonna drive me to my gate after I get out of the lounge.
Jeez, dude.
She walked me to the lounge and everything, checked me in, brought me to my seat and sat down. Do you want anything? You know, it was absolutely amazing. You know, I think you saw the lounge. The lounge it was like a mall.
Yeah.
3, 4 restaurants.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Chefs everywhere. People that bring you. Oh God, it's amazing. So I'm definitely. I think I want my new blog because I do this often. Believe it or not, I just don't post it. A lot of things I don't post because just based on where I'm at and what I'm doing. you
Right.
know. But I'm gonna start posting the lounge and vlogging about it, and I talk about the experience. But then I come back to I don't want to talk bad about the U.S. or anything because I really,
Our airports suck.
I love the
man.
U.S. But I come back to the U.S. and I have status and I have status and everything.
Right.
Status in United, Delta, American, and everything. And I actually just got in the United. United, you're fine. Mark's here. Mark here
Sorry,
messed
Mark.
up. My God.
Moving around here.
Yeah, and it was a long flight from. It was Munich to Chicago. We'll talk about Munich as well, going through that airport with COVID.
I've
and
been to
stuff like
Munich.
that. You've been there?
Well, not during COVID.
Oh my God. Oh,
I went
anyways.
Munich to Houston.
How long was that flight?
10
Houston?
hours?
Yeah, mine
Something
was.
like that.
yeah.
But I was business in a 747. British Air.
Yeah, I was
Right before they retired it.
really nice.
Oh, it's awesome.
I was business it was a 350 and it was Lufthansa as well to
it's good
Chicago.
airline.
Yeah, and then
Better than BA, that's for sure.
was it? Yeah,
British Air is not that great of an airline,
yeah. Well,
from what I've seen.
a lot of the Western airlines are really because it's really hard for them to. There's just so many competition, you know. The Western Europe areas or countries, like Lufthansa, even them at times you can tell they're competing. They're trying to make their costs as low as possible, and
Right.
like if you go on the business class into Europe on Lufthansa on a regular business or first class, they're regular seats.
Right.
They're like regular seats, and they block off the middle, so it's not even first class.
That's what they do in BA.
Yeah.
So I flew. So I went from. I went from Munich to London, and then London, Houston. So London, Houston was a 747. Munich, London was like an Airbus, probably like a 320 or something.
Yeah.
320. But that's what they did. Yeah, their first class was coach seats with a table on the middle seat.
Yeah. I was like,
It was really weird.
and I first saw it, I was like, what is going on? I wonder what their reasons for that.
Cheap.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Is that, they're trying to cut costs. And that's where we're going here in the U.S. That eventually you're going to see that. I mean, oh, God.
I had, when I came back, I told you I had business. Well, I had first coming back from Detroit to Phoenix during Christmas, but they were flying the 787 from Dallas to Phoenix.
So you had like the Polaris seats? Is that what you had?
Well, no, that's United.
Oh,
I was on American.
That's United. You're right. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I went Detroit 737 to Dallas, which was nice, first class. I mean, the seats are a little bigger, good food.
Yeah.
But then the 787 from Dallas to Phoenix, and those seats were pretty damn nice.
What kind of seats were there? The 7-8?
7-8, yeah.
From Dallas to Phoenix? What kind
Dallas, dude, lie flat, dude. I have my
Oh,
own
lie
little
flat?
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
I'll send you some pictures. Maybe you can throw
Well,
them
I
up.
flew.
We can share all our pictures. Make all you guys jealous.
Well, I flew United from. Where was I? Went to Phoenix to. It was DC. Dallas to Munich. It was a 7-8, but it was a Polaris.
Right.
So you have your own. It's like your own little section. Like it's all blocked off and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like your own little, small little room. That it was nice. It was really nice. United have their stuff together, man. I was impressed going through. Like I went through. I'm starting to get impressed with United because I landed and I got a text that says, "Oh, you just landed. Your gate is this gate. You're gonna be landing at this gate. It's gonna take you about 4 minutes to walk to your gate." And I was like, holy, I was pretty impressed.
Americans starting to do that too. Like
Really?
they'll get texts. Yeah, they'll tell you where you're. Oh, you have to get their app though. So
Yeah.
it doesn't send you text, but it gives you through the app, and it'll send you little pings like, "Here's where your next gate is."
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it.
I
I
got
feel like it tells you how long it's supposed to take to get there.
Yeah, I got a text that says it's gonna take you 7 minutes to walk to your gate. No, like I was like, man, I'm impressed.
And may I, to you folks out there, if you have a layover, make sure that you have enough time. Like if you have like a 30-minute layover,
Don't do it.
right.
Don't do it,
I've
man.
learned that twice. So number one, the first time I learned that, the hard lesson was, London Heathrow.
What?
That is not a good
You out
airport.
of your mind. Did you really do that?
I booked my trip, and I booked it so I could fly on the 747
Yeah.
business. Like that was my goal, and so I had to connect through Heathrow. When I told my friends who had plenty of traveling experience, I think I had 30 minutes exactly to get from my Munich airplane to the Dallas airplane
Yeah.
or Houston airplane, and they all looked at me and laughed. And
Yeah,
they're like,
man.
"You're never gonna make it."
Did you make it?
I did. I got so lucky that it was only like I didn't have to get on a tram or anything,
Yeah.
but I still had to run
Well.
because when you come through internationally from another country, you still have to you
Yeah.
have to claim your bags and recheck them. And my stupid ass left a water bottle in my carry-on and got stopped.
You checked your bags and with a 30-minute, I still got on.
My bags got on and my carry-on got stopped in security because you have to re-go through security. You know what I'm talking about?
No, absolutely.
And
I'm just impressed that you
it-
checked your
time-
bags.
I was not expecting to make this flight.
At 30 minutes and you're still able to make it. I'm impressed.
After everything I was told to me after the fact, we're talking like they told me this like a week before I was supposed to leave. I was like, well, it is what it is. I mean, what are you gonna do? and then and then I left a water bottle in my stupid carry-on, and I had to wait through like I'm gonna say 4 or 5 other couples that had their bags pulled aside. I'm just sitting there tapping my foot, going, "Guys, I gotta get the hell out of here," because I still didn't really know where I was going. I
That's
grabbed
funny.
my bag. And it was like that Home Alone.
Yeah. Yeah,
when
some
they're
are
running through
like-
the
yeah.
airport, like I gotta make the flight. Made
That's
it.
so funny.
But then it was the same thing happened to me in Dallas when I came back. I don't think it was the Detroit trip. I think I was coming back from Louisiana or something. And I had like a 20-minute layover when you're thinking, oh, that's not that bad. We're good. I swear to God, Dallas is laid out almost like in like a big like half circle or something.
Well, Dallas has
Something.
two zip codes. It's that large, that airport. You got to take a train to every damn terminal,
Yeah.
you know?
We landed. I was in the. Yeah. We landed on the very end of the terminal, and my connecting flight was on the opposite side,
Yep.
completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there. I am running again. So plan accordingly, people.
Yeah,
It's brutal.
an hour and a half, I say, minimum, with a connection.
And at that point, give yourself another 45 minutes. Go grab a beer.
Or so exactly. If you need it, yeah. If you're a traveler, you need to think that way. You know, give you some time. The more time you have, if it's you have lots of time and you're in your layover, go sit down, have a beer, have a glass of wine. It's better than
It's way better
trying
than
to-
freaking trotting through an airport.
airport. Yeah, and then also don't a lot of these. I don't want to say their name because just in case they sponsor us. A lot of these affiliated airline booking companies, they'll book your ticket. You get to pay attention to it because
They don't care.
they don't give it. They'll give you 20 minutes to connect, and that is not a good idea. All right, do that stuff yourself. Pick the flight yourself. Give yourself an hour and a half minimum. I say minimum
Mm-hmm.
because there's a good chance to get in that plane, and something happens. And all of a sudden, at 30 minutes, you're sitting in that plane for 30 minutes. Now you only have an hour to connect or whatever. So don't do it.
I have a friend that I work with, and she's going to Italy in May. And she bought her flights, and I was looking at them, and I was like, there's a couple of times I'm like, well, you better hustle there. You better hustle on that one.
Another thing
It's
is
like, and it goes along the lines of what you're saying. It's like they're just finding the lowest fares.
yeah.
They're not taking into consideration of what you're going to have to go through
Yeah.
once you land and then try to go make that next flight,
Yeah.
especially when you're going from one airline to another.
Oh my god, I haven't done that in a. That's probably something I don't do often. In the U.S., I guess international, but then somebody's taking care of my travel, so I don't care if I miss
Right.
it. Oh, I guess I missed my flight.
All right,
What do
you're
you
not
want me-
going to work.
What do you want me to do? That's a great thing about this job, But
That's why I don't use the travel sites because
don't
they'll
yeah.
mix and match.
Yeah, exactly. So I booked exactly. If I'm going on a flight somewhere in American, I'll book it through American,
Right.
the American app or website.
Right.
The Southwest app, Southwest website. They'll book exactly. They'll book it through random airlines and connect you with 50 minutes to connect, and they don't care.
No.
They get their money. There is no refund with those guys. Good luck.
And they're not that much cheaper anymore. Like a lot of times, if you're flying somewhere in like the American Airlines region, like hub to hub or something, you're not going to find a cheaper price by going to some travel website than you would by just going to AA.com.
Yeah. I'm surprised they
Very
still
minimally.
They still because Southwest doesn't allow you to Southwest. You can only book. You can only book your flights through Southwest
Yeah.
airline website. You can't.
Yeah.
They don't do that. So there's no middleman nonsense and. I'm
Which is
surprised.
kind of nice because then you're not like thinking, oh, did I get a good deal or not? No,
Exactly.
it is what it is.
Exactly.
You pay it or you don't.
Exactly. I'm surprised they still do that. I guess they're trying to fill seats, I guess, as much as they can. I don't know, man. It's kind of like Tesla. Like Tesla, if you buy a Tesla, you buy the Tesla on their website. You don't go to a Tesla dealership. You don't go to some random ass dealership and trying to negotiate, trying to haggle.
Yeah.
No, you buy through. That's the way to do things. I think.
Yeah.
This middleman nonsense is ridiculous. But I think I went to the United Lounge and I couldn't believe. I was like, what? I walked around for 3 minutes trying to find a seat. Everything's crowded. Why are these airports? What's going on with these airports, man?
Yeah, I liked the Admirals Club, but I
It's not a thing.
I got offered because I have the AA credit card, which is good because I get a lot of points. I mean, that's how I got business. I actually got business for free from Munich, and
Oh.
I'm at like 130,000 miles now, so I'm gonna be planning another Europe trip here soon. But shit, I forgot where I was going with that.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say something too, and I forgot. Let's see. I was gonna say something important. Oh, another thing. It's not just the U.S. on this one. I think, depending on who you fly on, even in Europe as well, that drives me absolutely. If you buy a business class and a first class ticket, you're buying it for a reason, aren't you not? Are you not? Is that how you say that? My grammar's really bad.
I think either way would work. Sounded good to me.
Oh, okay.
Are you not? Well, yes, I'm buying it for a reason because I want to be taken care of.
Well, for
Want
one
the
reason, you're
luxury.
buying it because you want to get on a plane first. That's one reason. Second reason, you want to get on the plane. You want to get off the plane first,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yes, especially after a long flight.
right? Right. Larger seats, drinks, all these other options, right? And blah blah blah. And United, man, United. I'm talking. The Jamaican Bacon is bringing this up because it's
Not
important.
Mark. So if I apply for Aviate, this is not me. This is Richard.
It's not bad. I'm just making a suggestion. Group 1, Group 2. All right. I remember when it used to be you got first class. First class is the first one to board, followed by anybody who needs wheelchair.
Yeah. Families with children.
But I remember it was first class first. Now it's Group 1. So first class is Group 1. Everybody's Group 1. Everybody. See, if there's a long line of Group 1, and then you're like, okay.
They're like in the credit card status. Yeah. Oh, you get a credit card. Now you're in the same person who spent $20,000 on a first class ticket.
Well, I just got a United credit card. I'm trying to get the 1K. I'm just about 1K right now. I'm just right on the edge of it to get it. And 1K is one of the ones they call before Group 1. So I just want to, and it's not even that I just want to be able to get on the plane first and get off the plane first.
It's the Cirrus of commercial airlines.
But this is not so.
Well, here's my question. So if you're on First or Business and United, you get on the plane earlier than everybody else, right? The peasants.
Not anymore. Not.
A little bit earlier, right? Anyways, here's where
You get
I'm
on
going.
before Group 2. Anyway, there's only 2 groups, but you get on before Group 2, which is
Group 2 is the
I
one.
don't know where they are, but
Their problem is they don't have no overhead bin space.
but you might, yeah. And then there's another thing too is that you get all these people in front of you that is regular economy, which is I'm not saying anything, but then they put their freaking
Yeah.
they
I'm
put
gonna
their
stuff my
bags
bag right here.
in first class. And
Yeah.
it's like why would you? That's another thing. It's like why would you pay for that? Like it's
I'm
not
with
like
you.
it's a privilege, but you're paying for that privilege.
Right. Well, that's what most of these places, their economy plus is, overhead bin space.
Yeah.
Because you get to choose it first. Well, you get that with first class, so you should. People
Yeah.
stuffing their bag. Or my other thing is when those guys, so you're sitting first class, let's say just domestic first class, right? 737. But those people, which I usually am one of those people, so don't get me wrong. But the few times when I am sitting first class, I like to, put my nose up in the air. But when they come from the back and come use the first class bathroom, and they shit up the bathroom, and it stinks, and you're like,
Mark, that's funny.
take your broke ass back to economy.
That's pretty funny.
I would say I'm joking, but I'm not.
That's pretty funny, man. I see. I don't care about that stuff, but I've seen flight attendants go, nope, go to.
That's what they should be doing. That thin little curtain that they close
That's funny.
isn't doing the job.
That's funny.
And to be fair, you may be thinking, Mark, you're a total jerk, but
That's all right.
which I am sometimes.
Yeah,
But when you pay for that ticket, you pay for that ticket.
pay for that bathroom.
And when I'm sitting in the back, when I don't have the money to pay for that ticket, I look up there and I weep a little bit, but I know that I'm an economy.
Well, think about
And
this.
you got to accept it. I got to walk all the way to the back to go to the bathroom.
Think about this as well. This happens a lot in Europe, the Western regions in Europe. Well, no, Europe. I feel like the best experience you can get when it comes to I don't have to. Sorry, that was my fault.
You switch it back quick.
Yeah. The best experience, I feel like the best experience you can get when it comes to like those kind of service in business class is when you go to like the Middle East regions, and they, I don't know, the services are so much better. They know they know what customer service is. But listen to this. A lot of the European countries, they bus you to the plane.
You're right.
So you
It's weird.
I don't know what's with their architecture
They
or
board like
yeah
in the middle of the tarmac with no buildings.
yeah, like who's the one that decided to build an airport where you have to get bused to all the planes and everything, and there's not enough gates, whatever it is they decide to do. But almost all the time you can bust some plane that's parked in a random spot somewhere.
Right.
So then what they do is they call business class first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go through the gate, whatever you go through, and you go on the bus first, and then you're in the back of the bus,
Right.
and then everybody else goes last, and then in front of the bus. So then when it's time to board the plane, you're the last one to get off. So all the people,
So stupid.
So I'm like, there's logic to all this stuff.
And
This is not nice.
Any of you haven't experienced this, the bus it just sucks. You don't even want to get on the bus first because you're just standing on the bus for like 10 minutes waiting for everybody else
Yeah.
to pile on.
Yeah, you're standing there waiting for people to board. Yeah, and then exactly. But if you go to like Emirates, which does this, Emirates, they do the same thing. They bus you to the planes. Go to Qatar and those regions where they service. When they talk about service, they don't play around. You have a huge bus only for business class, business class and first class, and they say, "Please, everybody, please sit down as we bus the business."
They
class
serve you a
people."
drink.
as we bust the
That's
business
awesome.
class. Yeah, but I get it. I understand it because I understand the industry enough to understand why they do these things because it's all about cost.
Right.
I get it. I understand it, but don't try to sell something you're unable to offer. If you can't offer that service, don't pretend like you are actually offering that service. It's just so frustrating to me.
It's really funny.
Anyways.
I found the bus thing weird. Nothing was worse as when I flew into Munich, and it was just, I had been drinking a little bit. I had a long layover in North Carolina, so I had a few beers, and then drank on the plane, and then went to sleep, and then you get up, and it's super early in the morning when we got there, and next thing you know, you're standing on a bus, half asleep. It's just miserable.
Yeah, that's pretty standard in Europe. You get bust around to the airplane, So, anyways, you ever been to you've flown out to DC, Dulles?
Excuse me, a long time ago.
Have you been
When
in
I was
those?
a kid.
You've been into those people movers, they call them.
I'm sure I have. We went to Dulles a few times, flying United, when my mom worked for them. But I was really tiny. I was like third grade or something.
So that's another thing. Whoever decided to design the airport didn't think that through. They were like, "Oh crap, we forgot to figure out a way to get people to the plane." after the plane, wait, they're designing. Oh, this is looking good. Wait, how are we gonna get people to the plane? Literally, let's build a bunch of people movers and connect them to the plane, and then drive them to the connect them to the terminal, and then drive them to the plane. You ever seen the people movers in these?
No, I don't recall at all.
It's crazy. I mean, so this huge ass bus looking thing that has two steerings, one in the front, one in the back. I guess one in the front, one in the front. I guess.
All right.
Yeah, front and front.
Depending on which direction.
Depending it's going exactly. So then he drives up to the gate and everything, and locks it in and everything, and moves it up, kind of like the way they moved the gate.
Really?
Yeah, and then they open the door and you walk onto it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
No, that I
So
didn't experience.
if you're gonna miss your flight, and if for some reason you're running late and you get to the terminal and you're like, oh, you gotta get on a people mover to get to that plane,
You're done.
you're screwed because this particular one they're using might be full, so it's gonna come back to pick you back up in
Right.
the second round,
Right.
you know, and then it pulls up to the gate or to the plane, pulls up and everything, and connected like just like a gate, and you walk on,
Wow.
and it's like
Never even seen anything.
it's
like
crazy, man. It's like who decide? But anyways, it's just interesting. I'm gonna start writing about all these airports. I'm definitely gonna start talking about the pros and cons because I'm starting to learn a lot about these airports around the world and the service, the people, the culture. Each airport has a culture too, by the way.
it. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like not UND, but Gateway has a culture. Chandler has a culture. It's
Yeah.
old ass planes.
Yeah.
You know, Scottsdale has a culture. It's all business, luxury. You know, same thing with his transport type. You know, Class B airspace airports. They all have a culture. They all do things differently. So, anyways, good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Oh yeah. You want to say something about that, Mark?
About subscriptions?
It says subscribe when you were saying subscribe. Tell them how you feel about it. Tell them to get their stuff together.
Seriously, guys, subscribe. Because we're going to start putting out new material.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some guests again. And you're not going to want to miss out.
Yes. We're gonna start doing giveaways as well. So I might even give away a trip to Europe. Never know.
Not the
All right,
same.
man. That was good.
All right.
All right, Mark.
We're peacing out.
Peace out. We're out.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Wrong system. All right, we're out.